Hey y'all, it's September the 12th, 2016, and welcome to the broadcast, or the podcast, alright, this is a podcast, the first official podcast, alright, I'm going ahead and I'm skipping that whole radio thing, alright, I'm in the wave of the future right now, I'm on the internet, and I'm putting together a podcast, y'all. Reason for this is I have people out there, probably like you have people out there, all over the country, all over the world. And they've been telling me, man, shoot, we love you out there. We love you. We want to know what you're doing. We want to know more of what you're up to. We want to know what you're thinking about. All right, I'm very blessed in that way. I have a feeling that you're very blessed in that way as well. Thing is, I don't have time. I just don't have time to tell everybody all how I'm doing, and that's very unfortunate. None of us really do have that kind of time. So with that in mind, I say, you know what? I'm trying a little bit harder. I'm gonna go ahead and really go in depth. Really, we're gonna take some time out to really discuss the ongoing tribulation, all right? Because shoot, that's bigger than all of us, all right? We're gonna discuss how we can be on the right side of things and just do whatever we could possibly do to help others, especially babies, All right, that's what we're gonna do on this podcast. Now, if you're not familiar with podcasts, none of this is visual. That's why I'm not seeing pictures. All right, so you can go ahead and just listen to this if you had time. You're washing the dishes or whatever. Or you could take this with you for absolutely for free, right? There's directions, there's a link below. You can go ahead and take this, this is the whole thing to YouTubeconverter.com. That will automatically download this to whatever, your iPad, your iPod, your mobile device. You can take it with you on the go. Because here's the thing, I know everybody up there is busy, me too. That's why we can't share as much as we would like to, but we can share as much as possible. That's what we're going to attempt to do with this broadcast. And also, man, just shout me out comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you want to be on the podcast. You want to lend an opinion. Certainly possible. Anything's possible. But anyways, like I said, starting a podcast, all right? It's September the 12th, 2016. That's the day after September 11th. And a lot of us know that that's a very significant day. In fact, all of us know it's a very significant day. Many of us who are old enough remember exactly why September 11th is significant. And many of us are old enough to recall watching crazy, terrible images for days and days. And it's a very significant day. It will be till the end of America. You know what's funny? Before we dive into the news, you know what's funny is it's 2016. I mean, 15 years later, and all sorts of absurdities are taking place regarding 9/11. People are making jokes about it openly on the television, on your Comedy Centrals. I've seen commercials. I've seen people put up sales in very, very bad taste, like Coca-Cola putting up a Twin Tower sale and putting up 2 towers of Coca-Cola. You want to sell Coca-Cola, huh? You can't tell me that Coca-Cola doesn't understand that they're making a mockery of what was a very tragic situation. Now, this is regardless. There's a lot of people who got a lot of theories as to what exactly took place on 9/11. We're still trying to get classified documents. Still trying to get them. But regardless, it was a very sobering time. It was a very tribulating time. And I just feel like it's just not appropriate. I guess that's where I'm gonna end it. I feel like it's not appropriate. Joke about it in those sort of ways. You have your freedom of speech, and I find yours disgusting. I'm not gonna, but it's interesting because I never heard it the way it's been going down this year. Nobody's ever really joked about it the way that they're doing this year. And it makes me wonder as to why that is. Anyways, yesterday, you already know. You should already know. I mean, I showed y'all a clip. There's many people put out clips. Hillary Clinton, she fell out. She fell out hard. You seen it? Hard, real hard. She did, and shout out to the subscriber. He was telling me she looked a lot like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. If you remember that. And no joke, that's what she looked like as they were dragging her into the van. Right? And no, they're saying, if you've seen it on television, more than likely you saw an edited version where she did not look like she fell out all over the place, when in fact she did. But see, that situation right there, that was crazy to see. It really was. I don't know if any one of us could have really accurately predicted that happening, but it happened, right? Very confusing, very bewildering. It gets even more weird, in case if you hadn't heard. 90 minutes later, right after that event took place, a mere 90 minutes later, Hillary Clinton, who just fell out all over the place, she comes bouncing out of her daughter's New York apartment, Chelsea, bouncing out of her apartment. I mean, who could tell you why? I mean, either steroids were involved. I mean, you really had the dope. How can you fall out all over the place and come out bouncing out of your daughter's apartment like nothing happened? Like it's you're it was as if she was having the best day of her life. That's what it looked like. That's what she made it look like. And with that being said, there's a clip. If you haven't seen it, there's gonna be a link below. Check out Hillary Clinton bouncing up out of the apartment 9 minutes later. And it's a very socially awkward scene because here's the thing: what you got to know. You see Hillary Clinton coming out of the apartment, there's a cameraman who is getting a good shot of her. You don't see anybody around her. The reason for this is there's like a barricade of some sort, probably a human barricade, to make sure that nobody comes near Hillary Clinton. Now, regardless if you know this or not, it's because Hillary Clinton is not a people person at all. Not at all. Not at all. This is thoroughly on record. Not a people person. And so what you see is there's nobody around Hillary Clinton, and then from out of the camera shot comes a little girl. Here's what I gotta explain to you in case if you didn't know. I mean, it's pretty obvious. That was a stunt. That's what's called a stunt, a publicity stunt. Sending a little girl to make it look like Hillary Clinton gives a damn about little girls, and no, she does not. All right, sends in this girl. Hillary Clinton has a moment with her, sends her off, and then trying not to answer anybody's questions at all. Nobody's questions. She looks like she's having the time of her life, the best day of her whole entire life, while not answering anybody's questions. Nobody's, because Hillary Clinton is not a people person. Like I said, also she most certainly has to be on drugs. She has to be on drugs to fall out and completely just be like, oh shoot, this is the best day of my life. Yeah, you're doped up. So that's what you're seeing in that clip. All right, extremely confusing, bewildering. It complicates the situation, but let me tell you something. The situation gets more complicated. In fact, it's more complicated because, from what I understand, and I heard this in multiple sources. From what I understand, Hillary Clinton's doctor claims that Hillary Clinton has pneumonia. That's right, pneumonia. I think that's official. I'm going to find out more about that later. Pneumonia is what her doctor said that she has. All right, and this goes ahead and complicates the situation even more for different reasons. Let me explain one reason. If Hillary Clinton has pneumonia, you would have figured that they could figure that out before she goes all out in public again. Because here's the thing, if Hillary Clinton has pneumonia, as it turns out, pneumonia can be contagious, so probably the last thing that Hillary Clinton should be doing is putting her hands all over a little girl the way she did, whispering like in her ear or something. You shouldn't be doing that, right? Because you might give her pneumonia, if that is indeed what you have. But Hillary Clinton, she's not a people person like we already discussed. But on top of that, she's really becoming Amelia Bedelia. If some of y'all old enough to remember Amelia Bedelia, that is Hillary Clinton at this point. All right, she can't do a dang thing correctly. She can't do a dang thing without trying to breathe. She can't breathe. She can't stand up usually. Okay, but here's the thing. Hillary Clinton has pneumonia. That complicates the situation even more because anybody who's familiar with pneumonia, maybe you know somebody's had pneumonia, maybe you had pneumonia. Sometimes it takes people a long time to get over pneumonia. Like perhaps a month or even more than that sometimes. So you can see how this kind of complicates the situation as far as the election goes. You can see that, right? That's a big surprise to everybody, right? Yeah, basically, because see, here's the thing. Hillary Clinton dodged the debate already one time already. So now she has the excuse of pneumonia, which makes the scene back there, it's like, dude, if you have pneumonia, and people are asking you, hey, how are you doing and stuff, you might just say, hey, I got pneumonia. Right? But also, I plan to get in these debates. See, that's what a person who's really trying to win the presidency would do, is say, hey, listen, I got pneumonia. This explains my cough that I just had, but now I'm feeling good, and I'm trying to battle through the pneumonia. And I'm going to try and make it out to the debates. Here's the thing, Hillary Clinton does not want to debate at all. She absolutely doesn't want to. Pneumonia would be a pretty dang good excuse for that, wouldn't it? Not in my eyes, necessarily. I don't care if you can't stand. I don't care if you have to be on a lazy boy and stuff and reclined all back. You get in this debate because it's called the election. It isn't supposed to take place without debates. It just isn't. Hillary Clinton's trying to get out of the debate. Pneumonia would be a perfect excuse. So that's the reason for my coughing fits. That's the reason why I kind of fell out back there. It's because of the pneumonia. And meanwhile, she pops up out of her daughter's apartment building, bouncing up out of the building 90 minutes later. What were you injected with? You know what I mean? Like, how is that even possible? It's all very crazy. Right, but that would be a perfect excuse, wouldn't it? I'm going to go ahead and move on. Let's talk about this guy I'm subscribed to, 6 Hammer 666. He is like what do you call it, a Luciferian or something like that. A very sharp dude. And I listen to him because we have a lot in common. And he was talking about, he put a video out, I got a link down there, talking about occultism. Alright, he's talking about how occultism helping cause Clinton to suffer that medical episode where she fell out all over the place in New York City. Alright, and I gotta say, I gotta elaborate on that because everybody knows this is a Christian program. Alright, so I gotta say that is how that works. I want to take time out to, I want to go ahead and take out time to acknowledge that the power of prayer absolutely does exist. And when many people pray at the same time about a certain thing, it goes ahead and happens more likely. The reason is because that's the power of prayer. Now, this Luciferian guy, he's talking about Hillary Clinton suffering the medical episode due to, I guess hexes and voodoo curses or whatever. I don't know, but basically it's the same idea. Really, it's when good people, when genuinely good people, they pray together or they have certain thoughts at the same time. God will go ahead and make that happen. Now, it's not to say people want Hillary to get sick, but it's just that they want her to stop doing what she's doing. And she's acting bad. She's acting bad in all sort of ways. All right. All sort of ways. She don't talk to people. She don't have debates. She don't have press conferences really. where she has to answer questions. She don't like answering questions. True Stream Media, another people I'm subscribed to, man, you know, they also have video, right, about how Hillary Clinton, I mean, you might have seen it. Really, Hillary Clinton is going for broke. She's doing things that have never really been done, as is Donald Trump during presidential elections. Just recently, you might have caught her talking about Donald Trump supporters, right? And this was very significant in that she called half of them a basket of deplorables, which is just like, that sounds very aristocratic and snobby, for one, just off top. Number two is, usually in a presidential election, what you'll do is you'll attack the person. You'll attack your opponent, right? Because you want everybody to think you're better than your opponent. However, you do not attack the human populace and call half of millions and millions of people. Hillary Clinton called millions and millions of people in the United States of America a basket of deplorables. And how that's significant is that does not win you elections. It absolutely doesn't. In fact, it'll make it much, much, much harder to win the election. And why that was significant, why they brought that up, is because that right there, Hillary Clinton recently calling people a basket of deplorables, millions of people. That is proof. That's 100% proof that Hillary Clinton absolutely is aware that this election is rigged. She's not trying to win it. She knows she's not going to win it. She's just trying to use whatever rhetoric she thinks she can get away with before she slides into a rigged election and takes that presidency. Or at least that's what she thinks. Her health ain't looking too good. But do you understand? I mean, Donald Trump has literally came out and said this election is rigged. It's so rigged. Hillary Clinton just admitted right now, by calling everybody a basket of deplorables, she just admitted, yeah, it's rigged. I'm going to win this. She literally just did that. We're living balls deep up in the tribulation right now. You understand? It's getting wackier and wackier. Like with Paul Begley, I saw him, subscribe to him as well. Paul Begley, he wants to know this. He wants to know, is it time for Tim Kaine to come out of that bullpen? I think it really might be. Because here's the thing. Anybody who's willing to vote for Hillary Clinton is willing to vote for their own tortured death. Right? They do not care what it is. They will cling to ignorance till the very bitter end. All right? Like we already discussed. So they'll take anybody. It doesn't matter who's. Let's say if Hillary Clinton were to suffer an untimely death due to health conditions between now and the election time, or sometime around that, that's when Tim Kaine pops up. And of course, everybody who's voting for Hillary Clinton is going to vote for Tim Kaine, the person who basically is a complete stranger to you and me. Who's Tim Kaine? Who is that? Who is that? And see, that would be perfect right there, because here's the thing. When it comes to globalists, when it comes to the elite, when we're talking about the very tippy top of our economic structure, I believe they pull all the strings for Hillary Clinton. No matter how many demons actually pop up out of her face, she will do exactly what those people say, those people at the tippy top of the economic structure. From what I've seen, those people actually do not like Hillary Clinton, and they seek to embarrass her, and they seek to use her as a tool. And I know that's getting very complicated, but see, the thing is, those people would love to watch Hillary Clinton crash and burn the way she's doing right now. Just pop in Tim Kaine. Of course we don't know who Tim Kaine is. And they're gonna make it look like he won. So now we got a complete stranger in office, just like we had a complete stranger 8 years ago. And isn't that very convenient? At the same time, you know, Obama could go ahead and pull, you know, the election. He can go ahead and cancel it, probably, couldn't he? Call that martial law or whatever. I mean, it'd be a perfect time, wouldn't it? The situation around the election is extremely absurd and preposterous. And that's the reason why we keep bringing it up, is because you have to acknowledge that it's beyond absurd. You have to acknowledge that at this point. If you're not willing to do that, I don't think there's anything out there that any of us could do to help you at this point. Living in the tribulation. But we're going to go ahead and move on, because there are a couple other things that I do want to discuss with y'all real quick. In case if you hadn't heard,